Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, hi, I'm G, aka Underwater Eyeballs, and I'm a cosplayer. And thank you so much for joining me today for this next episode of the Out of the Water podcast, where I sit down with cosplayers, artists, creatives, anime enthusiasts, and overall some of my favorite creators to pick their brains about the shit they love to do. So joining me today is Ryan, aka Ryanlamchops, who is a photographer, anime enthusiast, and content creator. He has
Hello,
been in the
everyone.
anime community. Hello. He's been in the community since 2021 and has recently begun cosplaying, which is very exciting. So, hi,
Yeah.
Ryan. Welcome.
How you doing? Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
Of
Thinking about
course,
this
me
all week.
too. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. I love you so much. I know we just saw each other at Katsu, and that was so much fun, and we were kind of talking about it off mic,
Mhm.
but seriously, thank you for being here.
Of course. Happy to be
I
here.
appreciate it. And so as I was prepping for this, I realized I have so much I want to ask you.
Dude,
Just
I
because
love to. Yeah.
I hell yeah, yeah. I just I'm if for those who don't know, Ryan is a photographer, and we have worked together a couple times
Yep.
now,
Yeah.
on different cosplay shoots and everything. And I just have so much I want to pick your brain about. Um, so first things first, you are an anime enthusiast, as you
Yes.
mentioned. How did you get into anime?
Bro, that's a really it's a funny question you asked. It was one day during COVID, right? So
hmm
I was walking in the living room and my brother works from home, so like usually most of the time when he's working, he's either literally like playing video games or like watching TV like somewhere else while he does his work. So one
hmm
day I walked by the TV while he was working and he was watching Attack on Titan and it was the episode where Erwin gets his arm chomped off. I'm like, bro, this is like this is
Such a good
exhilarating.
episode. Oh
Yeah,
my
I was like,
god.
this is exhilarating. So I
Yeah.
was watching it, and then I was like, I don't have anything else to like really do today. So I sat there for a few hours, and I just watched whatever point that was for the next like 5 hours. Like was literally just watching Attack on Titan.
Yeah, love.
so
Oh my
so
gosh.
yeah, that is kind of where it started. It was Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer that were my first two anime. So like the bar was set like super high for me, but this is kind of what really flipped my life over the edge, bro. Because as soon
Yeah.
as I started to get into this hobby, I feel like so many things about my life started to change. I realized that I found something that I loved like so much, and I was always looking for something new to watch. I was looking for people to connect with so I could talk about it. I was
Mhm.
even like slowly starting to get into like these little like sub hobbies that are part of anime, obviously like cosplaying, and there's like figure collecting and manga collecting and all this stuff. I pretty much like I went from here, dude, to like deep end like
You were like,
fast.
"There's no chill," like,
Yeah, bro,
0 to
because
100.
here's the thing, dude, like, before I was, like, a super mega nerd, like, I was an athlete, like, I played soccer from the age of, like, 4 to
Oh,
from when I
wow.
graduated yeah, from when I graduated
Uh-huh.
from college, so I was playing for, like, 2 decades.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, this is another thing too, like, I never separated, like, my personal persona from, like, all, like,
Mm.
my quote, unquote, like, nerd hobbies, so, like,
Yeah.
everything that I have from, like, when I first started my Instagram or my Twitter, for example, like, I just keep on using that for everything I use,
Oh,
you know?
wow. That's
Yeah.
brave.
So there's like yeah, there's literally like no separation there, but
Uh-huh.
it's great. Yeah, but to answer your question, that is where it started. Demon
Mhm.
Slayer and Attack on Titan were my first two anime, and
Absolutely.
that is where the spiral began. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I have to ask, what is that like not separating that? Because I separated it hard. Because I was like, I'm gonna be thirst trapping on the internet. I don't want anyone I know to see this shit.
It's
It was
funny
like
you
a
add that
hard line for
too,
me.
because like I said, like I just use my phone number to connect all my stuff to like my accounts and stuff. So like everything that I post on TikTok, like people who personally know me, like sometimes it shows up on their For You page. They're like, "Oh,
Oh
like
my
you do this?" I'm like, "Oh
god.
yeah, you know." I
Oh.
I feel like I'm pretty lucky in that my career that I work in, I don't think
Mhm.
it's super like what's the word I'm looking for? It's not gonna affect me that much if people see
Gotcha.
like what I'm doing, and for the most part, like I'm not doing anything like too like wild on
Too
TikTok. I'm
crazy.
mainly just like posting stuff that I'm interested in and making like funny jokes and stuff for the most part.
Mhm.
But for people who didn't like see that coming though, they're like, wow, so like you're like super into this stuff now, huh? And I'm like, yeah, like it's super cool. But
You're like,
um
"Yeah."
this is this is this is kind of the way I look at it. I think I think for the most part, every single person who I consider, like, close, like, in my life, like, I kinda know that
Mhm.
they're already, like, accepting of me, so they understand, like,
Gotcha.
no matter what, like, I'm into, they already know what I'm about and who I am. So
Mhm.
they're cool with like regardless of what I'm into. But even for those people who might be like a little like judgmental, or they might be thinking like, oh, like he's weird for like getting into this stuff. And I'm like, people like that, like their opinion doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So
Absolutely.
that's one part. And then this is one thing I definitely learned like coming into this community is like there's nothing better than being like the most like authentic like version of yourself that you can
Oh,
possibly
yeah.
be. Like obviously I understand some people might work a career where that's not possible and they can't really do this.
Mhm.
But
For
I've
sure.
found that actually like the more psychotic and neurotic I've become about my hobbies, like the
Uh-huh.
better company I've found like through
Mhm.
like I mentioned, like I'm so grateful for the amount of people that like connections that I made and friends that I made through this hobby. Like even like people,
Mhm.
obviously like you, G, like it's such
Yes.
a joy to come see you at cons. Like every time I walk, and if I'm like I see your face like through the crowd, I'm like I need to go say hi to G right now because this person makes me so happy, you
Oh
know.
my gosh, right back at you.
But yeah, so that's kind of the way I look at it. But
Well,
like
that's
for this
awesome.
show,
I'm glad that that's been your experience because I for one my big boy day job
yeah,
I don't want them to know about this. Not that I
right,
think they would like super care, but like
yeah,
but you know I'm kind of public facing in a way at
right,
my other job, so I'm like
mhm,
I just it's less that I'm like scared of what they would think and more that I'm like I don't need those people to like see me in that manner, I guess.
right, yeah. I
You
totally get
know,
that too.
if that makes sense. Like because I like to keep it very like professional and and all that stuff. So I'm very I always say that like work G is very like non-me core.
Yeah,
Like when I go to work, I'm cosplaying Nanami, and that's like the personality that I have at work,
bro.
which is very opposite from my actual personality. I feel like,
I think
yeah,
a
like
lot of
I
like
could,
working adults can watch
yeah.
Jujutsu Kaisen and look at Nanami and be like, "Bro, I relate to this guy like so hard."
Oh my god, yeah. Him being like, I don't want to do this sorcerer thing, so I'm gonna do a corpo job. And then he's like, I hate my corpo job so much that I'm gonna go back to putting my life in danger. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
It's true, yeah, yeah,
That's
bro,
true. Yeah. I love him so
100%.
much. I have him tattooed on me. I love him so much. He's my
Oh,
Pookie.
that's a gorgeous tattoo. When did you get that
Yeah,
done?
you kind of can't see it behind my microphone, but it's there. I got it done. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched season 2 of JJK. I got it done after he died in the show. Because I knew I have like a rule with tattoos where I have to wait until the character dies,
Mhm.
for me to get it because I'm like I don't want to, I don't want them to do anything like horrifying and have it like tattooed on my body kind of thing, even though I
Yeah.
have Aaron Yeager tattooed on my body. So like I kind of broke that rule a little bit. But I mean it's cuz it's the panel of him and Mikasa and Armin sleeping.
Mm,
It's before he did all the bad stuff. But
okay.
yeah, no, I got it done after he died because he was my favorite character. And I knew he was gonna die. It got spoiled for me before I watched the show. So
Oh,
so
that's
I was
so
like,
annoying.
once he dies, I'm gonna go get a tattoo for him. And so many people were like, gee, why didn't you add like a huge ass on it? And I was like, cause it's the panel from the manga. Like, blame fucking the guy who wrote it. Don't blame me. Like, of course, I'm not gonna add a huge ass to it.
How many tattoos do you have?
Oh my gosh, I think I have 20 now. I want to say. I've got this like whole like anime sleeve that I'm working on.
Yeah.
So if I was gonna count, I've got Migi from Parasite. I have the little radish spirit from Spirited Away, who I adore.
Yeah.
The little guy with the fan who's like, um, and then I have Erwin, I have Levi, I have Ash Lynx's shoe from Banana Fish,
Oh, wow.
because I have mental illness.
Don't we all?
And then I have Erwin's bolo tie,
Okay.
obviously.
Yeah.
Which this was like I loved getting this tattoo so much. I fell asleep during this tattoo.
You fell asleep while the needle was, like,
Oh
going in
yeah.
you?
Yeah. Yeah.
How?
I like high key tattoos really don't bug me that much. I have a pretty high
Oh.
tolerance for tattooing. But yeah, and
Mhm,
then I have the little Totoros from My Neighbor Totoro, obviously. And
mhm.
then Kaneki's like finger snap from Tokyo Ghoul,
Yeah.
because I love Tokyo Ghoul, and then Nanami, and then I have the panel of Eren, Mikasa, and Armin sleeping, and then this is like my Shira tattoo that I have,
Oh, wow.
and then I have Evie on the back of my arm, and then now my most recent one I have Polnareff from JoJo's, the
Okay.
panel from the manga that's like a sketch of him that Araki did. I have that on the back of my arm, and then
Oh,
I have
wow.
the red windmill from Moulin Rouge on my leg, and then I have Armin's seashell like right here, and then I have two like just like little guys from this artist that I like. I just have two little guys on my side and then on my spine, which during my spine tattoo, I did pass out. And it wasn't because it hurt, it was because I forgot to eat before the appointment, which
Oh,
kids out
brother.
there, eat before your tattoo appointment. Yeah, that was a fun experience for me.
Did they okay, so did your artist keep going, like, while you were passed out, or do they have to wait until you
Oh
wake
god,
up again?
no. No.
Okay.
I think some people who know that they pass out during tattoos, I've heard will just say like, "Keep going if I pass out, like it's fine," because they know that they're going to, which
Yeah.
to me, if I was a tattoo artist, I would not do that. Even if they asked me to do it, I would be like, "I'm not doing that for like liability reasons," you know. But I'm not a tattoo
Absolutely.
artist, so maybe they know better than me, but no, he did not keep going. I basically he was, because it's also like it's like a little like abstract ghost tattoo,
Yeah.
but it's like completely shaded in, like it's completely like black work tattoo, it's completely shaded, so he was like on my spine for like a while.
He was treating you like
um
a coloring book pretty much.
Yes, pretty much. And it felt like I could feel it like reverberating through my whole body. It was crazy.
Oh.
But I passed out like 2 minutes in, like literally 2 minutes. I thought I was falling asleep, and then I woke up and my friend who was there with me was like, "Gee, are you okay? Like, are you okay?" And they like woke up and they moved me to like laying on my back, because originally I was like sitting like kind of backwards in a chair for it.
Yeah.
And then they moved me to a bed, and I still wasn't quite 100% like awake, and then they started feeding me like glucose tablets to get my blood sugar back up.
Mhm.
And then I sat through the rest of that tattoo and then a second tattoo, because mom didn't raise no bitch. And I
You're
was like, you know what,
tough.
I paid for two tattoos, I'm sitting through it. And one was on my spine and the other was on my rib cage, because
Trooper.
I am an insane person. Yeah, so
Did the one on the rib cage hurt? Because that's right on top of your bone, no?
honestly, not really, because I was still like kind of not 100% awake. At least for me, when I pass out, it takes me like a while to like come back to life a little
Yeah.
bit, I guess. So I was kind of like, man, I was kind of lucky that I passed out like 2 minutes into the first one, so that I could kind of just like time skip my way through it, because because
Yeah.
my fucking head hurts, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but anyway.
Makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all the tattoos that I have. But yeah.
I've been wanting to get more because I only have 3 on me right now, but
Hmm.
usually I get
Yeah.
all media related tattoos. Like I have one on my arm, like my blade here
Hmm.
for uh this is Rengoku. This is for
Hmm.
Rengoku. So set your heart
Oh,
ablaze right here.
my Pookie Rengoku.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love him.
I'm like, when I saw Mugen Train in theaters, bro, I came out of
Oh,
it and I literally like as soon as I walked out of the theater, I started crying. Like I'm looking at my brother,
oh.
I'm like, bro, what did I just watch, dude? Like, dude. But
No, that was
literally as
devastating.
soon as I came out of the theater, I was like, I'm getting something for him like tattooed on my body. Because I think
Mhm.
this is another reason why a lot of the anime that like I really enjoy are super close to me, but I feel like a lot of them have taught me such like valuable lessons about life.
Mhm.
And I don't know why it takes like fictional characters to teach me something for me to like grasp a concept about life and like theory, for example, but I think
Mhm.
like the biggest thing like people can learn from Rengoku is like no matter how many this and along with a lot of my favorite characters, I feel like no matter
Mhm.
how many like bad things like you go through in life, like you can't allow any of that to stop you from being a good person and continue to like give
Oh,
back to
yeah.
your community and like helping like the people who are before
Absolutely.
you become better as well. I'm like I was watching that movie the whole time, like, man, this guy is so cool. Like, I just want
You're
to be
like,
like
"This guy
just like
gets
him. Like,
it."
he's so sick.
Yeah,
And
I love him.
his entire monologue, like before spoilers, like before he passes,
Mhm.
um, I was watching that, like him getting the chance to see his mom again, like in his vision and stuff. Just like it made me think about my mom too, and I'm like, bro,
Oh, you're like, "Stop, I'm
this
gonna
is like, dude,
cry."
this is brutal. But yeah, I think
Oh, for
it's that
sure.
about him, and then it's also just like how important it is, like in your life. Like no matter how many times you get kicked down to and punched and curb stomped while you're on the ground, bro, like you have to keep fighting, like no matter what. And just like seeing him like fight through having his eye punched out, like his ribs like
Yeah.
destroyed, like all that for him to like even get like stronger through that, like that's what I think like is the that
Yeah.
is the epitome, I think, of the human fighting spirit, pretty much. I'm like,
Mhm.
everyone should try
Absolutely.
and strive to be like Rengoku. So
Yeah, and then
that's why
him
I have that.
smiling, him smiling at the end.
I'm like, bro, just kill me, honestly. Like
I was like,
every
"Bro."
and
Oh,
every
because I
single
watched oh my god, I watched that movie, like, in my bedroom, like, alone, randomly, and then all of that started happening, and I was like, "I have no one to talk to about this." Like, I was like I'm
oh,
sobbing. Like,
that's the
it's
worst way to
devastating.
watch it, dude. If I watch that alone, I don't
Mhm.
think I'd be able to get out of bed.
I didn't afterward for a bit. I was like I was down for the count. I was sobbing real hard.
Every single time, like throughout this series, they brought back like a vision of him just like mentally like talking to the characters through visions. I'm like, just like, I miss this
You're
guy
like,
so
"Please,
much,
God."
man. But yeah, I have I have this for Rengoku, and then I literally just have like my favorite panel of Mikasa's face tattooed on my thigh.
Love.
Yeah. So I have that on my thigh, and then underneath her is my favorite line from Akuma no Ko, which
Mhm.
is the season 4. Is it the
Uh,
first or the second ending?
I think it's the second ending?
I think it's the second ending for the final, right?
Yeah, I think
How did
so,
I
'cause that's the one
forget?
that's paired with the rumbling, right?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yes,
Then
yes,
yes, it's the
exactly.
second. It's season 4, part 2.
Yes. So yeah, bro. So I have that, and you know that song is also like super like special to me. I think that's one of the most beautiful
Yeah,
songs I've ever heard in my life.
it's
Um,
gorgeous.
yeah, and then up over here is actually a tattoo that I had designed by Kaz. Um,
Ah! Shout out, shout
yeah,
out, Cause. We
shout
love
out Kaz,
you.
dude.
We love you.
I owe Kaz my life. Okay,
Oh, me
so
too.
she designed this tattoo up here. It's a Sato Sugu fish,
Ah.
and then around it is also lyrics. From Ao no Sumika, which is the opening for the Jujutsu Kaisen season with Gojo and Geto's like backstory.
Yes, hidden
Also,
inventory.
one of my favorite songs like ever, bro. Like I when that song came out, I not even slightly joking. I probably listened to that a couple hundred times like the first week it came out, and then that was easily like my most listened to song on Spotify. So I'm like, this is something
Real.
that also like hits home like so close to me. It's like when I was listening to it, I'm obviously like I don't understand Japanese like super well, so I'm like, oh, this is like super catchy. I love this song. And then I'm like looking
Yeah.
back at the lyrics and translating them. I'm like, this is gut
You're like,
wrenching.
"This is devastating."
This is horrifying. I need to have
Yeah.
this on my body forever. So
Oh my gosh. No,
yeah.
I love them. I've been trying to decide what because I really want a Satsugu tattoo, and
Mhm,
I've been trying to decide like what I want to get for
mhm.
them. And I'm unsure. But I adore those two so much.
100%.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
I
my
think
gosh. Shout out Cause though. They
oh my
drew
gosh,
me
dude.
recently or
Yeah.
painted me as Ghetto and I cried. Like they just did it like out of nowhere and like tagged me on Instagram and I opened the app and I was like,
What the
"What?" And I just started like I like tears streamed down my back. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" First of all, it's an honor to have anybody like
Draw
draw
you.
you like
Yeah.
ever. Like that's an odd like it's happened to me a couple times and every single time I'm like, "Oh my god, like what do you mean you want to draw me?" You know?
You're just a
But
cool guy. You're just a
yeah,
cool guy.
that shit made me weep and sob and it was also incredible. It was amazing.
Yeah, very, very talented individual.
Yeah, and
Very
I actually
talented.
have one of their prints from when they used to sell prints. Uh and it's Erwin and Levi if
Yeah,
Erwin became the colossal titan.
colossal. Mhm.
And it's so good. And I'm obsessed with it.
We have such talented friends, bro. That's another thing. Like all
We
these people in
do.
this community, I'm like, there's so many
They're so
people who are
talented.
good at things, It's
Yes, yeah.
incredible.
Oh my god, it's the best when I have people who are outside of the community messaging me and saying like, "Oh, have you seen this person like on TikTok?" And I'm like, "That's my homie. What do
Yeah,
you
that's gang,
mean?"
dude.
Like I'm
Yeah,
like,
Nolan,
"That's
that's
my
gang.
homie." Yes. Oh my god, it's so cool and so special when that happens. I'm obsessed.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So I wanted to ask you about this too, obviously. What inspired you to start photography?
Wow. Okay, so my my interest in photography started when I was like a young teen. When I was like 13, I feel like when I was like able to get on the internet with unrestricted access. I was like going on Tumblr and
Real.
stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was on Tumblr and I was seeing all these pretty pictures. I was like, wow, these are so cool. I wonder if I could ever do something like this one day. Like obviously as like a 13-year-old kid, like I can't afford to get a
Oh yeah.
camera.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it was quite a few years before I actually decided to like get into it. But when I was in high school, a bunch of my friends like were really starting to get into it. Pretty much like very, very small percentage of them though continue to do it up to the point where we are now.
Mhm.
But I was seeing them and I was kind of like learning things from them at that point. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. And eventually, the camera that my mom had bought, I started using it a little bit. And at that time, like obviously it was just a hobby. Like I wasn't obviously like when you first pick up something, you're not gonna be super good at it.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
I was just kind
Yeah.
of practicing taking it places, and it became like just a fun little hobby. And um, actually, I started experimenting with a different lens. I got a little nifty 50 millimeter lens. It's like $100. You can attach like a lot of different bodies. And so I started taking
Mhm.
pictures of like my friends whenever we go to hang out. Um, so that happened, and then there was a time when I lived in Los Angeles for a season. I was there for it was like 3 or 4 months that I was there, so it wasn't
Oh
a super
wow.
long time.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's another like lore thing. Like I got
Yeah.
so bored of my life, and I
Mhm.
had so much money saved up this time, and I was like, why don't I just go live somewhere else? And like,
Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
That's
So
wild.
I took a leave of absence for my job,
Mhm.
and then I just went over there to live with a friend, and I didn't work while I was over there, and I was pretty much just like making connections, like meeting people, like doing so many things that like I've always wanted to do, and just pretty much like
Mhm.
exploring.
That's
It was
really
awesome. Like
cool.
one of the things that like changed like me forever. And that's kind of where the photography thing has started because it also happened that that was also when I started to get into anime as well. And
Mhm.
Anime Expo happens in Los Angeles over the summertime. So while I was there, I was like, I kind of want to check this out. I haven't heard good things about anime conventions
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
before this time. But I'm like, like I'm here, dude. Like I'll try anything once within
Mhm.
reason. Um,
That's a big one too. That's a big
yeah,
convention.
so
Yeah.
I was like, let me just get a ticket for a day. I went there. I was like, oh, whatever. I'll take my camera too and see what's good. I'll take pictures of like the exhibits and stuff and like the cardboard cutouts that I have.
Mhm.
That is when I realized how deep like this cosplay thing is. Cause bro, I walked through the lobby and I'm like,
Yep.
what the some of like the most exquisite, some of the most like complex, some of, like just like the best like the best it just opened my eyes so much. I'm like, there's so much to this hobby that I just feel like I don't know enough about.
Yeah.
And at
Yeah.
this point, like I'm fairly introverted, but I feel like at cons I become so much more extroverted to the point where like I'm totally fine with like approaching like strangers, like striking up a conversation with them. So I have my camera and I'm like, I kind of want to like take pictures
You're
of like
like,
these
"Well, see?"
cosplays. So like I start like
Yeah.
chatting up like cosplayers and stuff and just kind of like seeing like what's going on here. Cause like obviously like I'm new to the hobby. I don't really understand cosplay and I'm kind of talking to
Mhm.
them. And so I just start, like walking around, like snapping pictures of like all the cosplays that I liked in the lobby. So that's where it started.
Mhm.
And it was also during this time when I was starting to make TikToks a little bit, and I was starting to make mutuals and friends, obviously. And then I kept on going to conventions. I decided that I liked going to a convention so much that I got home from that and I
Mhm.
bought a ticket to Anime New York City like right away, like right when I got back to my apartment.
Slay, yeah.
Oh yeah. So then I did that again when I went to Anime New York City, and then slowly, like over time, over like the next like year or two, when I started to get like my network was starting to get a little bit bigger, and I was starting to get to know like cosplayers like personally who are also just happen to like be my friends too. That's another thing I feel like
Mhm.
that makes my job like so easy. Most of the time, like when I'm shooting for people, it's like I'm literally just hanging out with my friends.
Oh, yeah.
It's it's
Yeah,
so easy. It's so easy.
for sure. I mean, like,
Um
we have so much fun, like,
yeah, shooting for you is a
when we work
blast, dude.
together.
When I see you on my schedule, I'm like, this is gonna be such a good time. It's not even gonna feel like work.
Oh my gosh, yes. No, that was, like, a highlight of my Katsu this year for sure,
So much
was
fun.
shooting with you,
I
yeah,
love
for
shooting
sure.
for you, dude. It's
It's
just
so
so easy.
fun. Yeah, me
It's so
laying on
easy.
the ground in the dirt.
um,
Being like
yeah. So that's where it started. I was just doing it as a hobby at first, and then I was just posting them on TikTok like every single day. I would split them up and just show people like pictures of cosplayers that I had taken.
Mhm.
And eventually, enough people were like, like, do you do this like for the love of the game, or like, do you get paid for this? I'm like, I just do it for
Yeah.
fun because I like doing it. They're like, like we will like we'll pay you for this. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
actually, yeah. So last year was actually when I started taking like
Mhm.
um full commissions for cons and then group shoots and stuff. And then that's, yeah, it's still that part of it. The business part of it is still fairly new to me. So I'm kind of like learning the ropes
Learning
for
all
that
that.
part. But it's,
Mhm.
yeah, that's the journey, especially. So it's
Absolutely.
been,
Well, you're doing great.
thank you so much.
You're doing
Thank you.
great. Yeah, yeah. I even remember like last Katsu, you were like, "Hey, like, does anyone want to just do like some quick like 15-minute shoots?" And that's when I was
Yeah.
like, "Sure, yeah, like of course." And then afterward, y'all, Ryan's work was so good. And you were like, "Don't pay me." And I was like, "No, bitch, I'm paying you." And I like Venmoed you because I was like, "No, like you deserve to be paid for your time, like even if you know." Even if you wanted to do it for free, I'm like, no, this is not free work
I
quality.
know it's super tough because, like I said, like it's like working with your friends. Like I'm not the kind of person who's gonna do something that I don't like, want to do if
Yeah,
I feel like it's not coming from the bottom of my heart. So if I'm gonna do something for someone, it's because I want to.
for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm like, man, I'm starting to realize like I was talking with my mom about it. She's kind of like a
Mhm.
lot of ways. My mom is like my agent, my
I
assistant,
love
like
that. Oh my
a lot of
god.
these things. So she's like, like I know that like you love to like do these things and like you're good at
Yeah.
it, but also like you can make decent chunk of money from like these events if you just like put your
Yeah.
commission form out there. So I'm like, all right, whatever,
You're
I'll
like,
do it.
fine.
And Katsu Katsu was Katsu was like the lifting ground last year is when I first started like
Mhm.
dabbling a little bit with taking people's money. And then I
Yeah.
opened a full one for Anime New York City, and I was like, okay.
You're
Like,
like,
all right.
"All right."
All right,
You're
okay,
like, "I'll
fine,
do it."
fine. But yeah, it's been awesome.
Absolutely.
I've got to meet so many cool people through one
Mhm.
business, and then also just being a part of the space. So I still feel like everything that I do is for the fun of it. And
Mhm.
for the most part, like
That's
obviously
good.
there's so many stressful parts about it. Like I work quite manically, so as soon as I take pictures, I just
Yeah.
want to go home and edit stuff like right away so I can get
Yeah,
people their pictures like ASAP. I
for
realized
sure.
that that's not super sustainable over time because that was kind of like that was starting to stop me from like enjoying time with my friends too. When I go to console, I'm like, why don't I just like get a little
Mhm.
bit better about balancing my stuff? So allow myself to obviously work, and then I'm like, let's not look at these now until we get home from the event, so we can like be
Yeah.
present with my friends too.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, that's the brunt of the photography
For
aspect right now, though.
sure.
Still kind of like a baby at the business part. Still learning a lot about
Mhm.
that bit, but yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's
For
gone very
sure.
well. very,
That's
very well.
good, and you deserve it, and everyone listening, book with Ryan. It's you'll have so much fun. Like, genuinely, not to be, like, mushy, but, I'm somebody who has, like, a lot of, like, I'm a perfectionist with my cosplay,
Mhm.
and I also get, like, quite uncomfortable usually when other people are taking my photo just because 'cause I'm like, "It's not how I want it to
Right,
be," you know what I mean?
right.
But genuinely, like, you get it, and I feel so comfortable shooting with you, and, like, you're always so like, your communication is amazing, and you're always like, "How do you feel about it?" Like, in the moment. And you're like open to collaborating on like posing and all of
Mhm.
that, and I just appreciate working with you so much. It genuinely is such a pleasant experience.
Of course, G. You make my job so easy, dude. So,
Oh my
so
gosh.
easy.
I hope so. I try not to be difficult.
You're very, very easy to work with. Super, super
I'm
easy.
glad, I'm
Yep,
glad, I'm glad.
very easy.
Well, yeah, so what's been one of your favorite shoots to work on? Because I'm sure you've done like a bunch.
Wow. Um,
I know this is like asking you to pick a favorite child, I'm sure, but
bro, I think I think artistically, my favorite one that I've gotten to do is for a friend, Maria. We went
Mhm,
into the New York City subway. Actually, she had asked me to come down to New York City to shoot for her.
mhm,
And this was during New York Comic Con, and she was cosplaying
mhm.
Jubilee from X Men.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, we went into the subway, and it was I don't know what happened this day, but like for some reason, like the neurons were just like firing like so
Firing.
well, like in my head, and I was coming up with like so many different ideas like for this shoot, and I like knew exactly like everything about the subway was just meshing so well with Maria's cosplay. So
Mhm.
I just felt like every single picture I taken, like I felt like I was hitting like a bullseye in like every single one, and I was looking
I
through the
love
shoot, and I was
that.
like, this is the best, like this is my best work like I've ever done. I did
Mhm.
There's one shot in particular that I really, really enjoyed so much. When I was looking back at it, I was like, I can't believe like I was actually able to do that. Like that was so sick.
You're like,
I
"I
had
did that."
yeah, I had Maria stand in front of the tracks, and
Mhm.
our goal our goal was to have her be stationary in the shot with the subway moving really fast in the background.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, it took a couple tries, but, like, when it finally landed, I was like, "Oh my god, dude, like, I'm him."
Yeah.
Like, I
Oh
actually
my
did it like that,
gosh.
bro.
I can, like, picture it vividly in
Yeah,
my head right now.
and
Oh my
like
gosh.
I was saying, like, all the colors were just flowing real this is one thing, like, when I take pictures and I look at the raw file in my camera, like, I pretty much already have an idea of how I wanna edit it when I'm looking into it.
Mhm.
So, already being able to visualize how I want something to look when I'm editing my pictures makes the post processing like way, way easier because I already know
Oh,
what
I'm
kind of
sure, yeah.
colors I want to mesh into the shadows and the highlights. I already know how
Mhm.
like dramatic or not dramatic or like angelic I want to make it. So that makes it 100 times easier. But that is also part of that is I have to go into the shoot and I obviously have to do my job super well so that the base is easy to work with. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that day, everything just worked out like so nicely. And then, like I said,
Yeah.
I got into Lightroom and I was looking at it. I was like,
You're like, "This
this
is
is perfect.
incredible."
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
incredible.
Oh my gosh,
That
yeah.
super super fun. Yeah, that was probably my favorite. Objectively, probably my best work. I think at least.
Mhm.
Um, Another really fun one I
Absolutely.
got to do was a really, really big uh, group of Pokemon cosplayers that I got to do. So this big group of like, it
Ooh.
was like, oh my god, this is also man, it was a lot of work, but I had a lot of
Yeah.
fun. So
That's awesome.
there was like 10 plus of them. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And my friend Maria also had reached out to me and she was like, I have a big group of like Pokemon cosplayers and we need like our pictures taken that day. This was like a 2 hour project, dude. So I was like at Anime New York
Mhm.
City, like, and I'm trying to like get everything done within 2 hours. That seems like a lot of time. Like for 10 people, you have to do like
Oh, no,
individuals and then you do group
that's
pictures.
yeah.
It's like, bro, I was like, I even still felt like I was crunched for time for 2 hours. That was the biggest project so far that I have taken on.
Mhm.
That was a lot of hard work for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, those two in my mind come to my mind immediately. I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like I have to go through my portfolio and just look at everything because there's like very specific and like individual shots that I really, really liked that weren't necessarily like shoots either. Like
Mhm.
sometimes there are just these little things where I walk by a cosplayer really quick and then I'll introduce myself and then obviously
Mhm.
like ask to take their picture and it just works. Like even if it's like a
Yeah.
quick like minute or two thing and I just get home and I'm like, I don't know. it just
You're like,
worked.
"I don't even know who that
Yeah.
was."
Yeah.
Like
Just flowed real nicely, but yeah,
For
I think
sure.
going through my portfolio over time, I think it's really interesting in photography. Like as you continue to learn the different skills with the camera, and
Mhm.
then also different like editing styles too. And
Yeah.
it's even looking back on that, I feel what I want to do with my portfolio is tell a story like of my life. So
Mhm.
looking back on all of like my personal moments that I have on there and then also of my work too, it's really interesting because you can go back to when I first started in 2021 and then you can go down the road all the way up to this point. You can see how much like my work has changed and how much I've gotten
Mhm.
better too.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
really rewarding feeling to be able to just have that visually as well.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a diary almost, you know?
100%.
Yeah, like, that's how I feel about, like, my TikTok page.
Uh-huh.
Which, if you go back far enough, it's interesting. But it still feels like a, like a chronicle of my skill,
Right.
and my craft, and
I
I
should.
love
You're very
doing that.
talented.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Oh my god. Stop.
Very, very talented.
Thank you. Yeah. And oh my god, I love that you said like you have to get the photo right like on site cuz we have a saying which I'm sure you know
Mhm,
but from my media production classes that I took in college,
mhm.
you can't polish shit.
Exactly. You
You
can't.
know? Like
No.
you have to get it right. Like you
Right.
have to start with a good product and
Mhm.
I feel like so many I don't know if this is something you've seen as well, but like so much of like the media production side of it that I see with like working with other people. They're like, "Oh, it's fine if it's a little blurry. Like we'll just fix it in post." And I'm like, "You can't fix that
Yeah.
in post."
I don't yeah.
Like
I do not agree with. I don't think that's
yeah. Yeah,
true.
like I like working with people who are like, "We'll just fix it later." I'm like, "I this isn't going to work out." Like
I think
I'm like
pretty
this isn't going
much
to go well.
the only way that would actually work is if you made the artistic choice to go for a blurry image, but even then, I'm kinda like,
Yes.
that's just not like I don't know.
Then you're like,
It doesn't work for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Yeah, so what kind of how did you start developing your personal kind of style with photography? Because I feel like I can like spot like a Ryan Lamb edit. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I can pick it out of a lineup. So how did you develop that?
This kinda goes back into what I was talking about, like, getting into Tumblr. I noticed the way people were editing their pictures at that time was very,
Hmm.
like, moody,
Yeah.
um, dark, and cinematic too, so that is pretty much, like, always my go-to, but I also really I really like to make my colors pop in my pictures too.
Hmm.
Maybe not pop is the right word, but prominent, if that makes sense. I
Yes.
really, really
Yeah.
like to make them be visible, but I also like, just make my things look really dramatic, moody. So that's why I
Hmm.
always use like when I use my S curve, I use my S curve like the same way every single time when I'm editing in Lightroom, and
Hmm.
that is how I achieve like that cinematic look of like this like moody, like pretty much everything looks like a movie poster like, in my
Yeah.
portfolio. And it's yeah, that's
I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it. I mean, we just we shot for my ghetto cosplay at Katsu, and when
Mhm.
you sent me those, the colors look amazing. Like on because he for people who don't know, he's got that like little green and
Yeah,
gold like sash situation. I don't know the proper name. I'm so sorry.
right.
But the way that you made that shit look, I was like, "Oh my god, like this is incredible." Like the cosplay doesn't even look that good in person. So I was like, this is amazing. Like this looks so good. It's so dramatic and bright and also like dark and moody at the same time. And
Mhm.
I'm like, this is brilliant, brilliant genius material, truly.
Yeah, it's like I said, when you go through when you're taking the pictures, like you have to be super mindful about how the colors that are around you are
Hmm.
meshing as well. And I think that's
Yeah.
also why that particular shot worked out so well because the foliage that was behind you
Yes.
was
Yeah.
also kind of the same tone and hue as what was on your clothing. So
Hmm.
when this is this is a thing for me personally in photography. I really, really enjoy it. Like it's just it works better in my brain when I'm taking pictures and all of the colors that are around someone are kind of working well together. Um,
Yeah.
there has to be, I personally think there should be a lot of like contrast when you're taking pictures of people because you need to separate them from the background. But
Mhm.
it also works out really nicely when stuff that you are wearing meshes because it makes you a part of the environment as well. But it's
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
your touch on it because your face is in it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. You're thinking about the whole photo,
Yeah.
and I love that.
Yeah. This is the stuff that goes out of my brain when I'm taking
Yeah.
pictures, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you
Yeah.
you get it. You definitely have an eye. So kudos to you. I'm
Thank you.
glad that you're developing your talent and
Thank you. Thank you.
doing
Thank
that,
you.
and also that you're being paid for it because you deserve it.
Yeah.
For sure. So you did your first cosplay photo shoot recently where you were on the other side of the camera. So what was that like for you, and what do you think you can take, like, from photography into your cosplaying? Because I know that, at least for me, like, there's a certain amount of mindfulness that I have about photography when I cosplay. So what's your experience been like so far?
I think because of what I expect from myself as a photographer, I already know
Mhm.
what I'm looking for if I'm to seek out another person to take my pictures.
Yeah.
So I think the number one most important thing to me as a person who's taking pictures of other people in cosplay is their
Mhm.
comfort. Um, their comfort. If this thing is not good right here, then you have nothing. The entire shoot is ruined. If the other person
Yeah,
does not feel good working with you, uh,
absolutely.
then it's just not going to work. So this is why I always make a point out of making sure one, my relationships with cosplayers are good because that is
Mhm.
incredibly important. Like I said, the less it feels like business or work when I'm working with a cosplayer, the better. It should feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
hanging out. It should feel like hanging out with a friend. Is personally
Yeah.
what I think it should feel like when you're working with someone else, especially
Mhm.
in a space that's is this vulnerable. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two, editing style. I had put something up on my story because like I mentioned that was my first cosplay, and I really wanted to have it
Mhm.
photographed because I went hard for this. So I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
guys, like, do we have people in mind for photographers that are going to be at Katsu? And quite a few people reached out to me and gave me a few accounts to look forward to. And I was scrolling through, and
Mhm.
I found one. His name is Kevin. He goes by
Mhm.
Figgleston on Instagram. And I was like, I really, really enjoy this style.
Mhm.
So off the bat, I'm like, this is a person that I want to work with. And then
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
being behind the lens teaches you a lot um, about how to pose people as well. So like for the most part, like when I'm on the other side of it, I kind of already know what to do, but it also does help a lot um, when the photographer is communicative and is able to express what looks good and how to like bend your body in certain ways and what to do with your limbs and your face
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, this photographer was outstanding at doing all that. So the shoot was an hour long. It felt like
Oh,
10 minutes.
wow.
Yeah, it was an hour
Yeah.
long. It felt like 10 minutes both times because
Mhm.
like I said, like when you're working with two people who know what to expect out of a project and also what their expectations are for what they want for the final product, and you
Mhm.
have two people who are like perfectly able to execute both of those, it just goes by so much easier,
Yeah.
so much easier. that's why
Absolutely.
that's why it's pretty much like working with you. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
when
We're on the
when
same
you
wavelength.
yeah, exactly, like when you as the cosplayer know what you're looking for, just by basing from like reference photos or what type of attitude or what type of style you're looking to express through your character,
Mhm.
and you're able to accurately express that to the photographer, that makes the photographer's job so much easier too. And then
Yeah.
it's down to the photographer to execute that as well. So they've got to make sure everything's on point. Their camera settings got to be good. They got to make sure their framing's well. They got to make sure everything is flowing nicely, and then
Yeah.
there's a
For
lot that goes
sure.
into it. But yeah, it was a
Absolutely.
blast, honestly. And
That's so good. I'm glad.
I
You looked great. You
thank you
slayed.
so much. I got
Of
home.
course.
I got home and I was like, bro, I just want to keep on cosplaying now. So I got
Mhm.
home and I just wanted to like build up like my skills to like do future cosplays. So for the most part, a lot of cosplays that I want to do in the near future are Genshin cosplays. So I'm looking at
Mhm.
other Genshin cosplayers and I'm like, I just I have to get better at this
Yeah, you're like, "I'm
because
obsessed." Like
some of these, like, bro, I
they're
don't know
incredible.
what is in
Yeah.
the water in China, but bro, like some of these cosplayers, I'm like, how like
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah,
I'm
it's
watching
crazy.
like Douyin makeup tutorials right now, and the fact that you people are able to like make yourselves look like AI is so incredible to me
Oh,
using
yeah,
only
it's
a
crazy.
brush and makeup.
Honestly, the craziest part to me is the skin, 'cause
Yes.
their skin is flawless, and I'm
Phenomenal.
like, "I don't know
Yeah.
how you did that." Like, you filled every pore. There is not one single flaw on your face, and it's crazy. And granted, I know some of it's probably, like, editing and post-production, but
100%,
even,
yeah.
like, videos I've seen, you know what I mean, of
Mhm.
people just, like, walking around, I'm like,
How is it
how
possible?
do you look like that? Like, even if on a good skin day that I have, I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
looking that smooth, you know?
Bro, I'm like, "What?"
Like, absolutely not. Like, no, it's crazy. I have mad respect for Genshin
People,
cosplayers,
yeah,
truly. Like, they're
dude,
so involved, and it seems like quite an
it's next
experience
level.
wearing one,
So,
so,
yeah, I had
um
gotten home from the con, and I was like, I feel like I can't rely on other people to continue doing stuff for me because when I was there at
mhm,
the con, I had all of my friends do stuff for me. So I had a friend do my makeup and I had a friend do my wig.
mhm,
So I got home and I was like, there's gonna be some times like when I want like my cosplays photographed like while I'm here at home. So
mhm.
obviously like these people live so far away from me. So there's things I need to learn to
Yeah,
do like on my own. So
yeah,
the first thing I
yeah,
got to was like restyling my wig. So I
mhm.
brushed out the entire thing and I was watching YouTube tutorials and like getting on FaceTime with my friend and
Yeah,
just making sure that I can do it on my own,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I got to that point, and then now I'm in the process of learning like that particular style of makeup. It's just making me want to ram my head through a wall because it's just I don't get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I don't get it. Everything I do, it's just not turning out the way I want to. And I understand, like I
Yeah.
just have to keep on practicing and practicing, but I'm like, I'm just you know,
You're like, "I don't know, man." Like
driving me insane. I'm just like, man,
absolutely.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but, do you have any thoughts on, like, photographer red flags or, like, proper etiquette, on a cosplay shoot?
100%, bro.
Yeah, go off,
100%.
give
When
them to me.
if there's this like my mind is like hardly ever quiet. So like whenever I'm like walking
Mhm.
around, I'm always thinking like super hard. Especially at cons, bro. Like when I'm walking around, I'm seeing other photographers.
Yeah.
The second I see someone like pull out their camera and like try to like snipe someone from a distance, I'm like, yo, you're
You're like, "What the hell is wrong with
dude,
you?"
like, yo, come on. Like, let's have some etiquette here. Like, I
Yeah.
don't like that at all. One, because I just think it's important to at least ask people for permission before you start taking pictures of
Oh,
it, you know? You
100%.
have
Yeah.
that's just something I feel like
Yeah.
everyone should have to do, like, regardless of what's going on. Like, even if there's, for an example, like a super like popular cosplayer who's like just in the middle of
Mhm.
the lobby and like everyone is taking their pictures, that I still don't think that's grounds for me to just join in on that and like take pictures of them. I'll
Yeah.
When that happens to me, for example, like I will literally still wait for every single other photographer that is around there to stop, and then I will
Yeah.
still approach that cosplayer, introduce myself, talk to them a
Yeah.
little bit, treat them like
Yeah.
a human being, and then
Yes.
ask them to take their picture.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that is the biggest part of it. Another red flag I see is, bro, honestly, I think anyone who's taking on exclusively raunchy photo shoots with cosplayers. I'm like looking through your
Yeah.
page, I'm like, yeah, no. We know why you're doing this,
Yeah.
bro. You're not slick. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that
It's
that would I
interesting for
no,
sure. Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I think,
That would
as a cosplayer, I will say, like, I fully appreciate, you asking permission always because the one thing, and this is for photographers out there who do this, we know you're doing it. We can tell. We can tell you're taking a photo from across the room. It's not hard. You're not as sneaky as you think you are. And
100%.
also, and it's dehumanizing, like
Yeah.
genuinely. And granted, I'm not like a famous cosplayer or anything, but like I've had people do that shit to me where they'll come up and like take my photo without permission, and then like, and it's so uncomfortable, and it makes me feel very objectified, even if I'm not like in a like raunchy outfit. And honestly, like I'm not like I don't do like femme presenting cosplays
Right.
because that's just not what I do. But I cannot imagine what the people in my life who do femme presenting cosplays have to go through, because I know it's so much worse. um and they get really really objectified, and it fucking sucks.
Yes, 100%,
Yeah,
dude.
and it's like, just ask permission, and if people say no, accept that, you know? Like, consent, baby.
100%. Such a
Yeah,
simple, like,
it's
concept I think a lot of people aren't able to grasp for some reason, or they take it so personally when they say no. Like, bro, maybe this person is trying to get to somewhere,
yeah,
or
yeah,
like when someone's sitting down and eating, or they're just like taking a break with their friends. That's not a time for you to be
exactly.
like, yo, can you get up so I can take a picture? Like, just read the room, you know?
Yeah, read the room, exactly. No, the craziest time I had was somebody got me coming out of the bathroom, and I
Yeah,
was
no,
like,
dude.
I just washed my hands and they're
Yeah,
still
bro.
damp, and you're like, "Can I take a photo of you?" And I'm like, "Girl." Like I just took a shit, you know what I mean? Like, I
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
wanna have my photo taken right
That's
now,
the
like
exact thought that I just had. I'm like, bro, if I'm in a cosplay, it's already a pain in the ass for me to go to the bathroom and take this off and go
exactly.
take a dump, and then I gotta go wash
Yeah.
my hands and come out. And now you're asking me to take my picture?
Exactly, exactly, and
No.
I was like, this is too much, and granted, because like, I'm not somebody who says no to photos, like, I'm not picky, like, I
Right.
let people take my photo, like, pretty much, like, 90% of the time. The 10% is when I'm coming out of the bathroom, or, like, literally I'm shoveling
Yeah.
food in my mouth, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
"Don't," like, "Don't snap a pic right now, because it's not a good picture." You know what I mean? Like, it won't
Yeah.
be good, and it won't look as good as if you just stopped and asked me and then I could pose for you, you know?
100%. Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's like you'll get better photos if you ask, you know?
Crazy concept. Treat people like human beings.
Yeah, wild, I
God.
know.
I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, so we're kind of already on this train, but I want you to step into my confessional booth for a
Okay.
second.
Oh,
Give me a hot take. Can be anything.
boy. I know this one is probably gonna hit home like specifically hard, but I'm thinking about Attack on Titan now. I
Yeah.
personally think Levi Hanji is the best ship for Levi.
Ryan!
Yeah. Yeah, bro. I don't
All right, that's it for this episode. No.
I knew because as soon as you asked that question, I've been thinking about that this entire time, like we've been here, and
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh.
I have to.
You're like, "I'm gonna
I have to
say
because
it."
like this is how I feel, but this is like all the other takes that I have. I feel like these are just like mildly like cold takes, but that one I feel like is an actual hot
That's a
take
hot
because I
take.
do
That's a hot take for sure.
because I
At
know
least for me, that's a hot
yeah,
take.
100% because I know Levi and Erwin is like probably the most popular like Attack on
Yeah,
Titan ship, in my opinion at least. I
yeah.
personally think
Oh, it's pretty popular. Yeah,
super
yeah,
popular.
for
Yeah,
sure.
but to me,
Yeah.
like in my head, I'm like, this is probably just gonna be a difference of perspective and like how you view like how partners should be in like love and stuff. But like
Oh, yeah.
I always kind of felt like the way Levi and Hanji interacted and
Mhm.
how their relationship was and like how they care for each other. I feel like that is probably my favorite ship with Levi involved in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
my hot take.
Well, alright, I'll clear this up for the audience. Because if you know me, I feel very strongly about this. I don't ship Levi on, obviously. I'm a pretty diehard Aruri fan. Who would have thought? But I do think in terms of like what you're saying, like healthy relationship, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that Aruri is a healthy relationship. like, is it toxic? Yes. But that's what makes it so
That's
good,
why, yeah, I was about to say that's why it makes it good,
That's
right?
what makes it so good, yeah, but I think I don't know, I mean, Levi and Haji to me is, like, always, like, a friend dynamic, but, like,
Mhm.
the problem I have with Levi Han is not the ship, it's
Mhm.
the shippers usually,
Yes. Yeah.
because 99% of the time, they're, like, coming into my comments being like, "Well, I don't like Aruri, but Levi Han," and I'm like, "Okay, that's not what we're talking about here,"
Yeah.
you
See,
know?
like, that's corny though, like, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely have, like I just got flashbanged by my ring light, dude. Okay.
You're so good.
Um, but yeah, see, like, I think this just goes for everything in life, like especially when it's something like this that's relatively like trivial, you know, like if you
Yeah.
have a different opinion from someone, like you that
Yeah.
does not give you the right to like go in there and be like, well, actually, this
Well,
relationship is better. I'm
actually,
like, dude, come
yeah,
on, what
it's
are
like,
we
calm
doing
down,
here?
and also it's so, like, rooted in, like, homophobia,
Yes,
like, for me, like, it's so
100%.
rooted in homophobia because
Yes.
because 'cause they're like, "Well, Levi's not gay," and I'm like, "Well, you don't know that."
Yeah, d-
You know? And, like,
right.
and I see Levi Han content, and I don't, interact with it, and I just move on, and I
Yes.
wish that people would give me the same fucking courtesy because I post about Ruri all the time.
Yeah.
And people are always in my comments being like, "Well, Levi's not gay, and Levi Han is better," and I'm like, "Well, blocked."
That's such that's such
You
bad
know?
logic to use to be like, well, Levi's not gay. Well, do you know for a fact that he's straight?
Yeah.
Dude, come on.
Also, the other thing is too, Hanji is like canonically non-binary. And so it's like, well,
Yeah.
Levi's still not straight in a
Mhm.
relationship with Hanji. You know what I mean? That is still a queer ship, you
Yeah.
know? And it's just so like I know that like, the Levi Han shippers are gonna come in my comments calling Hanji she. And I'm like, stop doing that. Like I spot it from a mile away, you know? Anyway, that's
Really,
my
yeah.
thoughts on Levi Han.
When the creator of this series literally comes out and says this character is non-binary, like what
Yes.
about that is not like clicking in your brain?
Exactly. No, literally. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. But no, I don't hate you for shipping Levi Han.
Thank you.
Because I know you get it. I know you're doing it for the right reasons and not because you're homophobic. So yeah. Yeah. People just need to get it together with that.
100%, dude.
No,
No.
but I do think like the whole like scene like where like Levi like got injured and everything and Hanji's like taking care of him and everything and then
Yeah.
they're like I just wish we could like run away together or whatever. That's cute. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
That's like,
Like
yeah,
that's
bro.
cute as fuck. Like that's
I'm a
cute.
sucker. I'm
Like
a sucker for fluff and like cheesy romance. Like I saw that and I'm like,
yeah.
damn, like
You're
bro,
like I'm being
come on.
fed right now.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, come on.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm like again, like I don't just ship Levi with Erwin either.
Yeah.
I mean, while he's alive, yes. But after he's dead, like even like there's a ship between like Levi and Onyan Capone that I love. I eat that shit up
I
because
didn't
it's like the whole yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know this
That's
existed
the
either.
thing.
Um but it's like the idea that like after the war and everything, they're like the only two like left and they like it's very like hurt comfort ship.
Yeah.
And I think it's adorable. Like I love like old man yaoi where it's just like them comforting each other until they
Yeah.
die kind of thing. I adore
Yeah.
that shit.
So like Pixis and McGoth.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. They kissed on that submarine or boat or whatever it was.
God, dude. It's
No,
funny.
but anyway. Well, speaking of Attack on Titan, I have some trivia questions for you. So a lot of them are Mikasa related because I know you. So if you're ready,
I
um,
might blow this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm bad at trivia, dude. I'm bad
I
at
think you
trivia.
got it. I think you got it. I think you got it. All right. So where and when did Mikasa get the scar under her eye? Where'd she get that from?
That that was from that's one of the raiders that came to the cabin while she was with Aaron during that first attack. Correct?
It was from Eren actually during the Trost battle was when she got it. When he was
I'm a
that was from
fake
Eren.
Mikasa fan, dude. I'm a fake
It's
Mikasa
okay.
fan. You're gonna take me off the platoon, bro. I'm cooked. No. All right, I'm all for one, dude. That's not
That's okay.
good.
That's okay. That's okay. All right. Who is Eren Yeager named after?
Hold on.
This is some season 4 shit. This is some season 4 shit. Or I guess the end of season 3. Some Grisha Yeager garbage. Cause fuck that guy.
Bro, I feel like Oh, Aaron Kruger. Aaron Kruger.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, work. You got it. You got it. You got it.
Bro, I don't know why, but my first initial thought was grandpa. I was like, that doesn't sound right. I was like, I know
He's
the
named
answer
after
to this.
Pictus.
I know. I was like, I know the answer to this. Why am I tripping right now?
Oh my god, I'm dead. I'm dead. All right, so this is a finish the quote. It's a pretty
Mhm.
short quote. Give up on your dreams and
Die.
yeah, who said it?
My goat, Mr. Captain Levi Ackerman.
By
that,
the way, I love that he's like peeking out from your bed behind you.
that guy's my hero, bro. Like, I love him. That is
Yeah,
my favorite anime character ever. I would not
my
miss
Pookie
him. That
Bear.
one I would not miss. No
I
shot.
love him so much. Yeah, I adore him. Oh my god.
That's my guy.
Okay, so where is Mikasa's Azumabito tattoo located? Yeah, which wrist is it? Her right or her left?
uh, left wrist. Left
It's
wrist.
her right wrist.
I don't think I'm deserving of her love, dude. I don't know. That's not good. I don't know anything about her. This is
Oh my
bad.
gosh. Real. I mean,
This is
honestly, none of
bad.
us deserve Mikasa. She's amazing. And deserves the world.
This is bad news.
And I
Yeah,
love
dude.
her.
Bad. It's not
All
good.
right. And then this last one. What were the names of Hanji's captured titans before Sonny and Bean?
Cooked. I don't even have a guess, dude. I want to be so honest with you. I don't
I
know.
put hard ones for you. I'm so sorry.
Bro, I don't even know that one. I don't know.
It's Chikatilo and Albert, apparently.
Yeah, no, there's no way I would have got that. No,
You're like,
there's no.
"Mm-mm."
Mm-mm. Damn. 2 for
Real.
5 is crazy. I don't
Hey,
even
it's
like
okay.
Attack on Titan, man.
You're like,
tough.
I'm not even involved in this fandom anymore.
I might be fake. I might be a fake fan. That's crazy because this is my favorite anime too.
That's okay. That's okay. Here,
Everything is
I'll
starting
give
to
you
mesh
a
together.
I'll give you a freebie. Who did Levi choose over Erwin?
Mr. Armin.
Yeah.
Sorry, G.
No, I think it was the right choice.
It was the right choice.
I stand on that.
He did the right thing. Yeah.
I've had people come out to me in Erwin cosplay and be like, I think Levi should have picked you. And I'm like, I don't. And neither does Erwin. Erwin
No.
didn't think that either. But anyway. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for your time. I'm genuinely such a I love you so much and I love working with you and
We'll be back,
and I
bro.
think you're amazing. Yeah. So do
No,
you have any
you.
closing thoughts for anybody watching, maybe for some photographers who are starting out for the first time?
There is no replacement for hard work and diligence. None. Keep on
Yeah.
practicing your crafts. Watch other photographers, and the best thing you can do when you're trying to learn a skill on your own is go find someone who is really, really good at what you want to do. Ask them questions, learn from them, and observe them very closely. You will get good fast. And do not be afraid to ask people for help.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much once again, and thank
Of
you
course,
to
G.
the audience for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find me at Underwater Eyeballs on all platforms. And Ryan, tell the people where they can find you.
I am at Ryanlamchops everywhere except TikTok. And on TikTok, I'm Lamerkun.
Love. Alrighty. Well, I will be back very soon with another episode of the Out of the Water podcast. And thank you so much. Thanks, Ryan.